Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Shyam Sundar. Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram. Jai Radha Shyam, Radha Shyam. Jai Gauranika, Jai Gauranika, Gauranika, Jai Gauranika. It's gonna Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Prabhu, Prabhu, Jai Prabhu. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Go Nitai ki jai, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Lalita Vishakha Devi ki jai, Samavet Bhakta Vrindi ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so this class is in English. We're reading from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 2. Contents of the Gita summarized. And the two verses we're going to look at today. Text 37 and text 38. So the one we will recite is 38 together. I will read 37 first. So the 37 goes, Hato va prapyasi swargam jitva va bhokshasaya mahim tasmad utishtha kuntaya yudhaya krit nishaya. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore get up with determination and fight. And Srila Prabhupada's purport is, even though there was no certainty of victory for Arjun's side, he still had to fight. Even being killed there, he could be elevated. For even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets. And 38 we will recite together. We will discuss both. So the 38 goes, Sukh dukkhe samay kritva labha alabho jaya ajayo tatha yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam avapyasi. Sukh dukkhe samay kritva labha alabho jaya ajayo tatho yuddha naivam papam avapyasi. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha alabho jaya ajayo tatho yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam avapyasi. Me kritva labha labho jaya jaya tatho yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam avapyasi. There's one line missing. Fourth line is missing there, है ना? Sukhe dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam avapyasi. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo naivam papam avapyasi. Anyone else? Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya tato yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam avapyasi. Okay, please repeat after me word to word. Sukha, happiness, dukkhe, and distress, same, in equanimity, kritva, doing so, labha labho, both profit and loss, jaya ajayo, both victory and defeat, tatha, thereafter, yuddhaya, for the sake of fighting, yujasva, engage, fight, na, never, evam, in this way, papam, sinful reaction, avapyasi, you will gain. Translation: do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. Please repeat after me. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. Purport: Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Devarshi bhutatva niranam pittaranam na kinkaro nayam ranicha rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam pariharsya karatam. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, Chapter 5, Text 41. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. We can all recite the Mangalacharan prayers together. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Paricharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachata Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhabheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. So the text 37 and 38 again. 37. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore get up with the determination and fight. Number 38. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Okay, so second chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, contents of the Gita summarized. We moved into the end of the second section of the second chapter. Actually, third section. So the last section was Jnana Yoga. Look, because it's a summary of the Bhagavad-Gita, last section from text 11 to 30, where Lord Krishna gives to all of us, through the medium of Sri Arjuna, the knowledge of the difference between the spirit and the body and the spirit. And that went on for almost 28, 29 verses. And then Lord Krishna will only touch upon that topic only briefly later on, I think 18th chapter, because that forms the basis of the Bhagavad Gita Gyan section, especially the differentiation between the spirit self, the real self, and the body, the material body, made up of material elements. And then we find, after speaking that Lord Krishna speaking the Gyan, or giving Arjuna Gyan, then Lord Krishna gives him the knowledge of Karma-kanda. So let's go back a bit. We find, we see, we can imagine, we can meditate on the picture where there are 18 Akshahonis, millions, 360 million soldiers are gathered on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. 11 Akshahonis is on one side of the Kaurava side, 7 Akshahoni is on the Pandava side of your soldiers, altogether comprising 360 million soldiers. And then before the onset of the war, they are opposing each other before, even after the conch shell has gone. Because normally when you start something, a ceremony or a fight in this case, a battle in this case, you blow the conch shell. Like the beginning of the arti and the end of the arti, you blow a conch shell. That means arti is started, or the fight is started. But conch shells have blown by the Pandavas, the Kauravas, Bhishma Dev, everyone has blown their conch shells. Yet the battle hasn't started. Everyone's ready. Everyone is ready with the maces, the swords, the bows and arrows, and the lances, the horses, the elephants. They're all ready to go. They were just waiting to start, and the battle started. Conch shell blow. Yet the battle did not start. Why? Because Sri Arjuna asked Lord Sri Krishna to take his chariot. We read that in the first chapter, 20th verse, to take his chariot right in the middle of the battlefield. Arjuna wanted to see who's present in the battlefield to fight each other. He knew very well that who the Kauravas are and who were on the Pandava side. Yet he wanted to see. So something was happening in his mind. He was not comfortable. He was something was troubling him greatly. So he asked his guru, his friend, who took service later on. He takes shelter of him, beginning of chapter 2:7. But in the beginning, in 1:20, he hasn't surrendered. He hasn't asked Krishna to become his spiritual master. So he's asking his friend Krishna to take him in the battlefield, middle of the battlefield. He wanted to see who's there. Krishna smiles, knowing that what's going on in Arjuna's mind. So what is going in Sri Arjuna's mind? He is in the greatest dilemma one can ever face. We think we have problems. We think we may face a lot of problems, have faced a lot of problems. But if we just imagine and meditate on the fact what Arjuna was going through, or as they say in English, put yourself in his shoes. What he was going through when he sees so many of his relatives, all his relatives were there. Most of his relatives, his friends, his uncles, his grandfathers, his gurus, everyone was there opposing him. And all their lives, and especially 14 years previously, when they spent incognito, 12 years, 12 years, incognito, and they were just thinking of one thing only: how to regain their kingdom, which is rightly theirs, which the Kauravas, headed by Duryodhan, actually usurped illegally, unlawfully. And all they wanted their life an opportunity to fight the Kauravas and take back the kingdom which rightly belongs to them. Oh, that's what they're waiting for. Now, when the opportunity came, when the conch shells are blown, Arjun wanted to see who was there to fight him. He knew very well who was there to fight him. Anyway, so what is going on in his mind? He's in dilemma when he sees everyone opposed. He gives 5 reasons not to fight. 5 reasons. And we don't have time to go through that, but he gives 5 reasons not to fight. And then Lord Krishna later on, in second chapter, he actually refutes those reasons, gives an opposing point of view of what Arjuna is thinking. And one of those reasons is in this text 38. We will see. But you can see Gyan section, then Karma-kanda section. And what here also, Lord Krishna is starting what is known as a yoga ladder. Yoga ladder. Especially in the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gita, Lord Krishna takes Sri Arjuna from the lowest level of yoga or spirituality to the highest level. Why he does that? Because he's trying to Lord Krishna is trying to convince Sri Arjuna to fight. Because Sri Arjuna is given 5 reasons not to fight. He doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to fight. That's why we see in text 37, Lord Krishna says, therefore get up with determination and fight. Get up. So we know why, we see why Krishna uses that word, get up. Because 146, at the end, last verse of chapter 1, it says, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down. He sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. That's why Krishna is saying, get up. You said, you're a warrior. Why are you sitting down? Get up. And then later on, 2:9, we also see, chapter 2. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjun, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. That means he became inactive. He sat down on the chariot. And here Krishna saying, 37, get up with determination and fight. See, and but 37, we find Arjuna asks Lord Krishna, before Lord Krishna speaks this verse, which is not recorded here, the acharyas mention there's 2 different dialogues are going on in Bhagavad-Gita. One, actually 2 sets of dialogues, both with Krishna and Arjuna. One dialogue with Krishna and Arjuna is here, what we read, and there's another dialogue, what's going in their minds before they speak this verse. And that dialogue, our acharyas, they mention. And here, before Lord Krishna speaks this verse 37, Arjuna is thinking in his mind and asking a question to Sri Krishna. He's saying, there's no certainty of war. I may be killed, Arjuna is saying. So why do you want to engage me in this ghastly war? Why do you want to engage me? Unspoken words. And that's why Krishna speaks. And Prabhupada also even says in his purport, even though there's no certainty of victory for Arjuna, still had to fight. And that's what Krishna says. Therefore, get up and with determination fight. Either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up and fight. You see. And 37 and the 38 is the end of the section, Karma-kanda section. I was mentioning this yoga ladder, which Lord Krishna takes Arjuna on, and through Arjuna to all of us. And it actually begins, is the first rung of the ladder is Karma-kanda. First step of the ladder is Karma-kanda. Next step is Karma Yoga. Next step is Jnana Yoga. Next step is Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. And the final step is bhakti-yoga. That's the yoga ladder. Right? And first 6 chapters, Lord Krishna takes Arjuna on a journey. From Karma-kanda, he's just finishing Karma-kanda, because we find that Karma-kanda, what is Karma-kanda? Karma-kanda is actually it begins from text 31, 32, 32, 30, yeah. Basically, Karma-kanda, my rough guess is at least 90 to 92% of the practices, between 90 and 95% of the practice. In fact, the Vedas, Vedic literatures are divided into three categories: Karma-kanda, Jnana-kanda, and Upasana-kanda. Right? Around 92, 93% of all the Vedic literatures is Karma-kanda. Then a few percent, 5, 6% is Jnana-kanda section, and only 2, 3, 4% is Bhakti-kanda or Upasana-kanda. Most of the Vedas, Upanishads, especially four Vedas, etc., they all deal with Karma-kanda. In fact, we had, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, that's what Srila Vyasadeva was told by his Guru Narad Muni, that you covered enough of Karma-kanda, don't cover this anymore, cover the real topic. Then Srila Vyasadeva talks about Krishna and his pastimes. So Karma-kanda, but here Lord Krishna starts with that. In fact, earlier on, we find in the Gyan section, I think it's text 26, let me just see, Lord Krishna starts even below the Karma-kanda. He starts with below, one level below Karma-kanda. And one level below Karma is text 26 here, 226. One level below Karma-kanda is atheism, believe in no God, being atheistic, Gnostic. 26, Lord Prabhupada mentions, and Lord Krishna is giving the argument. Lord Krishna is giving different types of arguments to convince Arjuna to fight. And one of them is based on atheism. Can you imagine? Lord Krishna is talking about atheism. Text 26. And Prabhupada also, Krishna says, if, however, you think that the soul will always be born and die forever, that's what atheistic believe. We're born, we die, and that's the end. No more of us. Krishna is saying that. You still have no reason to lament. So Lord Krishna is using that atheistic argument to convince Arjuna. And Prabhupada in his purport talks about, he said, Lokayatikas and Vibhashikas. There were two philosophies existed at the time of Krishna, even 5,000 years ago. These philosophies existed. Atheism existed. You see? And here, coming back to text 37, fight with determination. It says, Yuddhaya Kritanishchaya. Kritanishchaya with determination. So this is, as I said, the last, and get up and fight, but fight with determination. And that's very important kind of words, two words here, fight with determination. We'll discuss that in a minute more if we have time. But 37, and also just one more point on this. In chapter 2, one of the reasons of Arjuna not fighting was, he mentioned text 6 of chapter 2 was indecision. He did not know what to do. 5 reasons. One reason is compassion. Arjuna was compassionate towards living entities, when especially millions of people are going to die, what's going to happen to the family, etc. He was very compassionate. Second reason was loss of enjoyment. If he killed everyone, it was expected that the Pandavas will win and everyone will be destroyed. And if your friends, uncles, grandfathers, they're all killed, so what is left? Who are you going to enjoy with? There's no one to enjoy with. Loss of enjoyment. Third reason was incurring sin. If you kill, you become sinful. Right? Fourth reason was destruction of family traditions. The family, if the soldiers are killed, the family traditions in the family, like offering pindas and other ceremonies, will be stopped, and the women will become they'll become polluted. And then Varana Sankara, unwanted population. So that's the fourth reason he gave. And the fifth reason Arjuna gave was indecision in text 6 of chapter 2. He says, nor do we know which is better. We don't know. Conquering them or conquered by them. Killing them or being killed by who? The Pandavas, the opposing side. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So here we go on this. There's another reason he gave. But Lord Krishna says, in text 37, he says, either you will be killed. See that in text in 6, Arjuna is thinking lose-lose condition situation. I will lose because I will kill all my opposing side, my uncles, gurus, friends, relatives, and then I'll it'll become tainted with blood, the process, and I will incur sin. There'll be no one left for me to interact with, enjoy with. So he was thinking, I'm going to lose on both counts. But here, Krishna's turned that situation around. Lord Krishna saying, either you will be killed on the battlefield, you attain the heavenly planets, Swarga, or if you survive and win, you will conquer the earth and enjoy. So this is a win-win situation. Lord Krishna is giving positivity to Arjuna. Either you're killed, you still enjoy. You win, you still enjoy. Arjuna is thinking, if I get killed, I'm a loser. If I kill them, I'm still a loser. So that's the mentality. That's what Arjuna, you have to understand, he was such a depressed situation. He didn't know what to do. He thought of these reasons not to fight. The greatest dilemma in front of him. His grandfather, his guru, was an opposing side, and he was expected to kill them. Not just them, many others. He expected to kill them. So here, Lord Krishna is turning the arguments around. Fifth reason, he turned around. And therefore he says, with determination, fight. And that's a very important lesson for all of us in our lives, to understand that we have to, like Krishna is telling Arjuna, we should try at least. We're not always successful. And that is that we should try, all of us should try to work with knowledge and duty, with dharma and duty, we should not work with emotionality and rationality, because we work with rationality and then emotionality. If one wants to work in a religious context, in a dharmic context, that what is being taught, that context should be done with determination. It's action, not inaction. Get up means do something, action. Determination is action. Not that one becomes depressed and just stays away from everyone and does nothing. That's what Arjuna wanted to do. He wanted to leave the battlefield and go and beg, become a beggar. Lord Krishna is saying, no, action is better than non-action. You have to act, but act in a right way. And that right action is under the guidance of a dharma, religion, and that is under the guidance of one's spiritual authority or a guru. So, and then with determination, utsaha nishya dharyat, nectar of instruction. 6 things, tat karma paravartanat, the 6 aspects which aid bhakti. So determination is very important in our lives also. But more equally important is the working with dharma as a basis, and the duty. We must know what our duty is, and that duty must be done on the basis of our religious principles, rather than being emotional about it, or rather than trying to rationalize. No, I don't want to do this. I think that process may be better. I think what I'm doing is wrong. This is a rationality. If we do that, then we're not following the path of dharma. That's another very important lesson to learn from this text. That is, and there's many other points, but I think we'll move on to text verse 38 now. 38. Do thou fighting for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by doing so you shall never incur sin. One of the reasons Arjuna gave not to fight was he will incur sin because he killed somebody. Chapter 1, verse 36 says, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. So Arjuna saying, I don't want to fight. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy killing our own kinsmen? So Arjun, first reasoning, I don't want to fight. So I will incur sin. Krishna is saying, no. By doing your duty, you will not incur sin. He's turning the argument around. This is the subtle points, or this is the important points to learn from this conversation, the divine conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and learn what? Learn these things, how to implement these teachings in our lives. If we just read it academically and understand, oh, Krishna was thinking, Krishna said that, Arjuna was thinking like this, good, very good conversation, and that's it. We appreciate it, that's good, but we have to apply those instructions in our life. Here, the question of motivation is also there. With fight, get up and fight with determination, but with the right motivation. If the motivation is right, then we won't incur sin. What is the motivation? Here, Lord Krishna says, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, anything we do, we first think what the result will be. Whether I'm going to pass this exam, whether I'm going to get some money out of what I'm doing, my investment, or what the result will be. Whatever we do, we first think the result. What am I going to get out of it? What will be the result? If I invest in this, if I do this business, if I move from here to somewhere else, what is the result going to be? Whether it'll be good for me or bad for me. We all do that. That's the motivation. Without motivation, who does anything? Hardly anyone. And then without motivation, no one does anything. Very few. And Krishna saying, don't do anything with motivation. Isn't it opposing? What Arjuna is saying, thinking with motivation, and I can certainly relate with Arjuna, Sri Arjuna. We all do that. We do things with motivation. Now, motivation is not a bad thing if the motivation is right, correct. But if the motivation is selfish, then the result is also not very good. Then the attachment comes. This text 438 is going into a different level now. See, if you look at 37, 38, Lord Krishna, if one reads carefully, you will find Lord Krishna is contradicting himself. 37, he's saying, either you will be killed. He said, fight and with determination. Right? Here he's saying, do thou fighting for the sake of fighting. Here, before he's saying, if you kill somebody, if you win, you'll enjoy the kingdom. And if you lose, you'll go to the heavenly planets. That's the motivation, right? But here, he's saying, do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering motivation. In one verse, Lord Krishna's done a U-turn. That's what apparently it looks like. Text 37, he says, work with motivation. Text 38, he said, don't work with motivation. So what's going on here? What's going on is Lord Krishna is bringing and going into different level now. Up to text 37, Lord Krishna talked about Karma-kanda. And now Lord Krishna starts to begin to talk about Karma-yoga. There's a difference between Karma-kanda and Karma-yoga. There's two different things. Here, especially Nishkam Karma-yoga. The two types of this Karma-yoga, you have Sakam Karma-yoga and Nishkam Karma-yoga. Here he's talking about Nishkam Karma-yoga means action without attachment. That's what Nishkam Karma-yoga is. So he's asking Arjun, Lord Krishna is asking Arjun, without, they say, just fight. Why fight? Because that's your duty. You are a Kshatriya. Kshatriya's duty is to fight. But fighting should be done without considering happiness, loss or gain, victory or defeat. So there's no motivation, no result. He is not fight. Lord Krishna is telling Arjun to fight without thinking of who will win, who will lose. Does anyone go and fight somebody without thinking loss or gain? And then Lord Krishna will summarize this section in text 47, very famous verse. Karmanne evadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan ma karma phal heturbhur na mate sangastava karmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause or the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Isn't it? So that's later to come, but Lord Krishna has introduced Nishkam Karma Yoga. And Nishkam Karma Yoga depends on one's motivation. And if that motivation is as per scriptural, as per Lord Krishna, because Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjun should fight for the sake of fighting because Lord Krishna desired it. So if we follow, if we fulfill the desire of Lord Krishna, then that action, that is not just a karma yoga, that becomes nishkam karma yoga. That means action is there, but there's no sin attached to it. One does not incur any sinful reaction. That's why he says, that's what Krishna says to Arjuna, by doing so, you shall never incur sin. Never is turning his arguments. And we find in 5:10 also, Lord Krishna gives example of Padma Patram Ivam Bhasa. It's just like a lotus flower is never affected by the water. Let me just read that text to you. There we go. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful reaction. Chapter 5, text 10. As a lotus leaf is untouched by water. And that's the motivation, that's the basis one should work. We should all work that way. We should try to work that way without any selfish motive. The only motive should be how to please Krishna by our action. Whatever my duty, whatever my duty is, I perform my duty, but in that duty, with determination, my action should be to please the Guru and Gauranga. And if we do that, then we will not incur sin. If we don't do that, then our devotional path, our bhakti becomes mixed. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. It becomes mixed. We perform our bhakti with motivation. We not, then our progress, our path to our progress to the level of Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Navratam, we don't reach so quickly because we get mixed up with mixed bhakti. You know, in our devotional practice, we may take on Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, so it becomes mixed. That we should not want. We should try to avoid and stick with determination and with the basis of dharma, basis of religion, religiosity. And we find this word is used very, very often in the scriptures within the general Vedic society, Sanatan society, dharmic. You have to be dharmic. You have to follow dharma. So what does that actually mean? That's what it means. You have to follow what Krishna wants you to do, what Guru and Gauranga wants. That's dharma, right? Not, and that's the right motivation. And Krishna, Lord, and then say Nishkam Karma Yoga is two types also. This is the first of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga is one aspect of Nishkam Karma Yoga where the sadhak understands that he is not the body, he is a spiritual being. As Lord Krishna from 11 to 30, 10 verses, chapter 2 has emphasized that an individual is not the body but a spiritual being. So Nishkam Karma Yogi understands that he is not or she is not this body but a spiritual nature. With that understanding, Gyan understanding, that sadhak, that living entity, that Atma, actually can become liberated, moksha, especially Brahmavad moksha. But the two other type of Nishkam Karma Yoga is that the sadhak understands he or she is not the body, but a spiritual living entity, as Krishna has mentioned, and then goes deeper, goes to another level. And what is the another level? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, Jivere Suruphoy Krishnera Nityadas. So that Nishkam Karma Yoga goes into bhakti. Other Nishkam Karma Yoga doesn't necessarily lead to bhakti. And Prabhupada here, his purports are always on the level of bhakti. And that's what Prabhupada says here. In his purport, there's no consideration, etc. That everything should be done, everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna, his transcendental consciousness. That's a Nishkam Karma Yogi in devotion. You have different types, other types of Nishkam Karma Yogis, they don't surrender to Krishna. They just become happy. I'm not the body, I'm a spiritual being, and I become detached. They perform their work, but they become detached, but they don't necessarily surrender to Krishna. That's also Nishkam Karma Yogi. And Prabhupada said, he who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. That's motivation. Our motivation has to be right. Just to emphasize, if our motivation is not right in anything and everything we do, then we will go off tangent. We will not fulfill the goal for which we joined ISKCON, Krishna Consciousness for. We will go off a tangent. We will go off in a different plane altogether, and we achieve something else. But he who has completely surrendered himself in Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged. See, generally, no longer obliged to anyone. Generally, all of us, all the living entities, are debtors, rini. We are obliged to the devas, we're obliged to the rishis, the saints and sages. We're obliged to our forefathers, pitras. We are obliged to the general mass of people, general manushya, and then we also obliged to our friends and family. There's 5 different debts we have. The society, yes. So 5 different debts. And if one is just living ordinarily on the platform Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, etc., everyone is obliged to these 5 aspects. We all are rinis, all debtors. We're obliged to, our parents, our gurus, the society, Rishi Munis, the Mother Nature, the Devas, forefathers, other living entities. So we are in so much debt. And then we do yagyas or tapasyas to get rid of this debt. We satisfy the pitras, we do this yatra, this yagya, this anushtan. But 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada is quoting, if one is going towards anya bhilashita shunyam, pure devotional service, but if one is on mixed devotional service, then the obligation to a certain extent stays. But if he is in pure, he says, anyone who's completely surrendered unto Krishna Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna in this verse. So this debt can also be absolved or get rid of if one takes up the process of Krishna consciousness, process of bhakti, with proper motivation and with determination. As these 2 verses 37, 38 are mentioning, the time is up. There are a few more points I wanted to mention, but I think I'll stop here. There's so much lessons to be learned from every verse of Bhagavad-Gita. And these 2 are no exception. Srila Prabhupada, through his purports, is explaining wonderfully for us to understand. And this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya teachings of Purvacharyas and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, obviously, giving us this knowledge in a very, giving us knowledge to the level we can understand. But understanding has 2 parts. Understanding is first part, second is implementation, applying that understanding in our life. And that is even more important. And that way that shows our motivation. Applying the knowledge practically will show our motivation. What type of motivation we have, what's in our heart, what am I doing this for? Am I doing this to gain something? I become somebody's friend. I take on this job or service. I do this, I do that because I want to gain something out of it. Is that the motivation? Or I'm doing this purely as a service. The only motivation is to please Guru and Gauranga. So motivation is very important, whether in management, whether in doing service, whether you're in this friendship, whether in a family, in society. Every aspect of this life is dependent on motivation, and that is linked with our desires, and that is linked to our karma, obviously. So that has to be right. I think I'll stop here. If there's somebody wants to say something, questions, comments, or ask. Otherwise, I'll remind myself of right motivations all the time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna